One of my favorite sayings in sales is that the sale starts at no. And what does it mean? And it's an intriguing concept when you really think about it. But the analogy that I'll use is this. You imagine you're a kid and you've gone out playing with your friend and you've gone over to your friend's house. And after a big day of playing, you're a bit thirsty, but the mom says, hey, would you like a glass of water? And your instinctive reaction is, no, I'm okay. But really, you could have that glass of water. Sales is exactly the same. And especially when it comes to objection handling. When a customer gives you an excuse or a reason that they wouldn't want to buy or wouldn't be able to buy, and you've got to overturn that objection. You've got to provide some sort of rebuttal to get them back into the sales process. Well, we have a thing in my business called the 92% rule. And it works like this. 92% of the first objections that you get from a customer are complete and utter BS. I remember one of my staff, Zach, was out selling one day, and he and he got the guy right to the end of the sale, and he said, "Sound fair enough?" And he goes, "Yeah, but look, I've got to talk to my partner about this. She's an absolute nightmare when it comes to me signing up to things." And he goes, "Oh, that's okay, but obviously you see value in what we're doing here today, right?" And he goes, "Yeah." And then he got him back on the form, got him through the sales process, finished the deal. And at the very end of the sale, the customer says, "Hey, listen, I do have to admit something." He goes, "Yeah, sure, what is it?" He goes, "I don't have a girlfriend. I don't know why I told you that." And that's exactly how human beings work. Why that is, why people resist that sale, isn't because they don't want to buy. People resist the sale because of what the human brain is designed to do. The human brain is designed for one purpose and one purpose only: keep you safe. And if it's trying to keep you safe, of course it's going to prefer what it knows to what it doesn't know. What is safe and secure to what is, potentially scary. So anytime you make a sale, so there will be the occasional person. About 30% of customers will buy right on the spot because they're an impulsive kind of person. But by and large, the majority of your sales will actually come from people where you have to overturn a couple of objections. Therein lies the problem. Because understanding, the sale starts at no, or at least 70% of the sales start at no. But what do? Well, we need to ask them a couple of times. Some people just need to be asked a few times. We call that objection handling. Now, your first objection is something we actually call a deflect, because you don't actually want to give that excuse any legs. You don't want to treat it like it's real, because there's a 92% chance that it's not real. So something as simple as, "That's okay, but obviously you see value in what we're doing here today." More often than not, that'll get the job done right away. But you have to understand, when you're deflecting, it's all about the frame. When somebody gives you a negative, a reason they don't want to do it, they're attaching a negative frame. It's like, "Oh, I'd love to buy this, but I just can't really afford it at the moment," or "Oh, my partner is a bit of a nutcase with this," or "Oh, can I do it online? I'm just a bit busy." It's always got a negative connotation. And what you really need to understand when you're deflecting is simple. You have to establish a stronger frame. You have to establish a frame like it's no big deal. Something as simple as a buzzword where you go, "That's okay," well, that's awesome. You establish with your certainty the frame that you want to impose. Whoever is more certain will always control the frame. So once you've got that deflection out of the way, a lot of people know, and most people in sales know, that you should be closing at least one more time, or what we call a 3 times close. Because you've closed originally, where you say, "Sound fair enough," the first time, and then the second time is the deflection, but the third time is where you actually have a real objection. The third one is often a legitimate objection. So you have to handle those objections. It might be minimizing the cost. It might be assuaging their security concerns. And that's where the real skill comes in, because you've really got to take them on a journey. But more often than not, people won't do that third close, even though they know they're turning down 30 to 40% of their actual sales revenue just by not doing it. And so if we're going to make sure that we're objection handling more, well, the easy solution is to let's look at why we don't objection handle more often. And the answers are really easy. It's really only 2. Number 1 is that you don't think the customer is interested. It's very easy if you're getting a pitch out and you're dealing with a customer and they're completely unresponsive or they don't look like they're engaged much. Of course you're going to think, well, what's the point? Because your brain is always going to try and conserve energy where it can. The second one is even more realistic, is you don't want to ruin the rapport that you've just built with this customer. You don't want to upset the customer or have them become angry. But let's dissect both of those and show you why neither of them are something you should even think about. So if we're going to look at the first one, is that you don't think the customer is interested. Well, depending on the profile of the customer, Some people, like someone like myself, right? I'm highly extroverted and I love people more than I love things. You're gonna be able to read me like a book. That's just who I am. But for people who are generally a bit more task focused, people that are either dominant or more, more stability focused, where they're very conscientious, you're not actually gonna get a good read on their interests. So by the time you actually close them, you say, does that sound fair enough? And they go, I don't know. When you do that third close, occasionally they'll go, okay. And I'm sure we've all experienced that before. So just basing it from your experience alone, you know that that first one's not real. But some people do just need to be asked a few times. There are also other tactics. In between your second and third close, you can even add a personal story so that you can make it a more real experience for the customer and attack them in a different way that they're not prepared for. There's all sorts of different strategies, but the whole idea that, that just because they don't seem interested doesn't mean we shouldn't objection handle them one more time, it's silly. Now the second issue that we face is, well, you don't want to ruin that rapport or upset the customer. Well, let's take it one step deeper. Why would a customer get upset if you're objection handling more than once? Well, more often than not, especially in face-to-face sales, it's they don't know that you're going to stop. They think you might just keep saying no, so they don't know if they're going to be able to get rid of you. Same as in business sales. They might not feel like they're being heard. They don't know if you're getting the point. So the only reason they're actually getting aggressive or ruining that rapport with you is that they don't understand that you're going to stop. So what's the solution to that? It's easy. Ask permission to close them another time. How do I do that? Well, let's say I'm doing residential sales. I say, hey, look, that's awesome. They give the objection. Yeah, but I really am watching the budget. We just got a house, this and that, whatever. Yeah, that's okay. Look, do you mind if I make one last suggestion before I go and annoy your neighbors? Or let's say you're in a kiosk. Do you mind if I make one last suggestion before I harass the rest of the public? Or if you're, in a more professional business-to-business environment, do you mind if I make one last suggestion before I let you go? Just asking that permission, what it's going to do is give you permission to do that third close. How could they possibly get upset or ruin that rapport if they said, yes, it's okay, you can close me one more time? It's basic, it's rudimentary. Now, you will get one out of every maybe 10 people that you say, do you mind if I make one last suggestion? And they'll say, actually, nah, I'm really not interested. Don't third times close them. Don't close them. They don't want to be closed. That's okay. But if you're closing 90% of the time, that's a whole hell of a lot more than the 50 or 60% of the time that you were already doing. By one simple hack, it's just asking. So if you really want to objection handle more, knowing that you're accessing an additional 30 to 40% of potential sales out there, the systems are really easy. It's actually quite basic when you think about it. Number one, you have to shake the belief that they're not interested. Some people, you just don't know if they're interested until you ask them that last time. And secondly, if you don't want to piss them off, just ask them if you can close them one more time. And if they say yes, they can't possibly be angry. The more you can understand that the sale starts at no, and understand that the real resilience and skill that comes with sales shines after you finish the pitch, the more sales you're going to make, the closer you're going to get to your goals. Happy hunting, guys.